Let's call to order the November 1st, 2023 Town Council meeting. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I know.
Yvonne, can we have a roll call of the members present?
Sure. Bill Niemeyer,
Present?
Clint Letson,
Present.
Brenda Gaston,
Here.
Angela Farnow,
Here.
Chris Lyon.
Okay, the first, next item on the agenda is the claims approval. Claims number 25752 to 25787 as presented to us. Do I hear a motion to approve those claims?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
The motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on any of those claims? All those in favor of approving claims 25752 to 25787, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed by same sign. Next item on the agenda is we open the floor up to public comments, limited to 3 minutes for anybody that wants to comment on any item that's on the agenda. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes of from October 18th, 2023. Do I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
It's been approved and seconded. Is there any changes, deletions, additions that need to be made? All those in favor of adopting the October 18th, 2023 minutes, vote by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, same sign. Next item on the agenda under old business is the final reading of the food truck ordinance 101823. Do I hear a motion to approve that food truck ordinance? I make a motion we approve food truck ordinance 101823. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been approved and second. Is there any discussion on the final passing of this ordinance?
I would just make a comment before we vote that I'll be voting against this ordinance because I don't see an exception for a food truck that's related to a tenant or an owner of real estate or some other mechanism that would allow the one food truck that we have in town to remain, or at least not be affected by this ordinance. Maybe it could be grandfathered, but that's not in here, so.
Doug, didn't I bring that up at a previous council meeting and it wasn't vocalized as a concern, or it wasn't something that was asked to be addressed in the ordinance when you revamped it? I asked about that, you know, what happens if a tenant, if a food truck is on the property, they rent the building and it's on the property, and my understanding was everybody in the room was like,
they have to follow, if this passes, they have to follow this food truck ordinance, so. and the change here was the language we discussed a month ago, was to add the language consecutive. So you cannot operate from the same location for a period of 48 or more consecutive hours in any 7 consecutive day period. So it doesn't matter if you have a lease to operate there. That's a private agreement between the food truck owner and the landowner. The town requires that you can't operate there for more than 48 hours in any given week. So you'd have to move your truck and operate somewhere else within the town.
And there are no provisions, obviously, and that wasn't asked for at that time, right? There was no discussion about,
Why would we make a provision on a private deal with somebody?
I don't know.
This is a food truck ordinance.
I don't know. We discussed this a month ago,
I
and
know,
this
I-
never came up.
I don't understand, I didn't even understand it, because why would we be involved in a private contract between two other people when this is a food truck ordinance?
Yeah, I specifically asked about this issue and the wording and what if they have a contract? And I literally was advised or told, it has no bearing on, the situation at hand because that's a private agreement between the two. And even if they have a private agreement, they have to work that out or whatever. The town can't get involved in that. And so now we're talking about an exception to it. And a month ago, if I guess a commonality on this when we were discussing it, I would have asked for Doug to research that and do any other towns have any sort of stipulation or exception written into their contract for this means. I mean, has anyone else? I looked up some ordinances and I haven't seen this addressed. I mean, have you when you were looking at them?
No, most places that I'm familiar with do not make exceptions for people that have leases with the property owner. There's an ordinance in place and everyone follows the ordinance regardless of whether or not they own property in that municipality or if they have a lease. I think what was asked for was a special exception. The majority, the last meeting, did not vote to add that exception.
Right.
And also, I think it should be noted, was it a year ago when the first revision to the food truck mobile food vehicle ordinance was amended. It was specifically amended to address that food truck on 52. So I guess to circle back to answer your question, there is no exception in the current version that would give special treatment to the existing food truck. They would have to follow this ordinance just like anyone else.
Well, since that time, that food truck's actually got another permit, right? Has renewed their permit? So all the old rhetoric is out the window.
Didn't they also hire an attorney? That same food truck. Wasn't that? They came back with an attorney or they were talking to an attorney.
Is that something you guys shared? I don't remember hearing that.
They brought it up at a public meeting.
Even if he did, I don't know what difference that would make.
Well, we were talking about the special instance back at that one meeting, and then at the next meeting, he went and talked to an attorney, even after we said that we would work with them. And you guys voted in favor of working with them.
Well, and again, that exception language is not in this ordinance. And, it passed at the last meeting. I just, I wanted to explain why I am voting against the ordinance again tonight. That's all.
And I'm voting for the ordinance because, in my opinion, this is a food truck ordinance, not a landlord-tenant ordinance, which is covered other places in our code.
Angie, do you have any thoughts?
Nope.
So what you're saying is you've not seen it customary in food truck ordinances to have some sort of exception or statement for a landowner lessee exception.
Correct.
Okay.
And those type of improvements to land would normally be covered under your zoning.
Okay. So then that could send down a hole if we get involved in that, like it's a zoning issue. Okay.
I'm just saying, it's our ordinance, we can make it say whatever we want it to
Right.
make. So,
So you want to send it back to be rewritten again?
Well, it can be rewritten anytime, but
that's correct.
this one's up for the final reading tonight.
That's why I asked the question about, is it customary for an ordinance such as this to have any sort of clause or relationship on a business relationship between a property owner and a lessee?
No, and all the ones I read, I'd
Well,
never seen anything
right,
like that.
and I haven't either, and that's not a customary thing, and then, again, like he said, with a zoning issue, then does that open up a, yeah. Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of passing food truck ordinance 101823, vote by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, vote by the same sign.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we have a tie vote, which we ask the clerk treasurer to vote in case of a tie.
I don't think I'm prepared to answer. Can I
You can abstain.
can abstain? I'm going to abstain in this case. I want to abstain in this case because I've not thought hard enough about this.
Okay,
I have an answer for you guys.
so we didn't get a majority vote either way, so we're going to continue this to the next meeting. And the old food truck ordinance or resolution or whatever it was is still in effect until we pass a new one. Right, Doug?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Okay, so then what's the request on?
Or we
on
might have
figures?
another council member here next time to vote on it.
The same ordinance is coming back.
Yeah.
So the current ordinance still does not have an exception for that food truck. The only difference is we added clarifying language on the 48-hour period and the 7-day period. So that's the ordinance that is currently in effect.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, under new business, is Julie Lucas with the Winterfest Shop Hop.
Thanks, Clint. Get us to something happy.
That's what I say. Let's move on to some festivities.
Festive. Thank you. We are coming off of a wonderful Harvest Fest, and we will have our scarecrows down by Saturday. We gave them till Saturday because of the week type thing. So we have a wonderful committee working on our Winter Fest, and it will be December 9th from 3 to 7. And I'm working with Jesse Wally regarding the parade, and that's one item that we would want to bring up to you guys this evening. We had one last year. It was well received. We want to move it a little bit later so that people can have lights on their entries and make it look really festive for the holiday time. So Jesse's going to give me an opinion, kind of a time frame. We were thinking 6, but if we fall back this weekend, we want to make sure we aren't too dark so it's not unsafe for the people to be along the sidewalks and such. So we'll work with the police department if that's okay with the town to have it similar to what the Lions Club does with lineup and route and everything. We'll kind of follow that same pattern. I'll also get with Chief Ely. We would like to have mulled wine this year. So we would need to get a temporary permit, but I know he's out of town, so I'll get with him next week and make sure that that's okay with him. Our theme this year is Home for the Holidays, and we're going to kind of keep that theme each year and build upon it. Terry and Catherine are our head cheerleaders to get this event going. They're doing a wonderful job, and their vision is a Hallmark channel, so we may have a Hallmark movie here in a year or two, just with their vision. We're going to have all the trees decorated on the trunks wrapped around in the grass lot, and we're going to have path lights, and our little concession stand's going to be lit up. It's going to be our hot chocolate stand. So a lot of additions this year to kind of brighten it up and make it very festive. We'll also have Santa and Mrs. Claus, of course, and we have the middle school and high school choirs. We're going to have a couple igloos this year, and next year we're going to have more. We have sponsors for the two, and maybe next year we'll turn it into a Friday, Saturday event so that we can do, rent them out by the hour and just have some charcuterie boards and things like that, activities next year. But we're just going to introduce them this year and just give people the idea of the fun that we can have. And what else do we have? Oh, Larrabee Street's going to become Lollipop Lane. So if you see Lollipop Lane, it's going to be where our vendors are. We have food trucks and quite a few vendors coming back, and a lot of activities again for the kids. We'll have snowball fights with plush balls. They won't get hurt. Just, it's going to be a great day, and we thank you as council and the town and employees for all of your help for every event that we have. You've made it so wonderful and help us greatly. We're just a volunteer group of people, and we appreciate everybody's input. The town is just embracing all the fun that we can have. So, any questions or suggestions or?
Doug, I have a question. Because this includes a parade, I think each time someone has come to the council with a request for a parade, we've made a motion and had it formally approved. Do we need to do that to authorize the closing of Main Street for the use of the parade?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make that motion. That on December 9th, that Main Street for Winterfest be able to use Main Street for whatever time it needs for the parade. And that the final details to be determined with Bob, Ely, and Jesse
Right.
and worked out. But I think we should formally approve that.
I'll second that. All in favor of allowing Main Street and Chamber of Commerce to put on this event, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you. And
Thank
Julie,
you.
I was sad to see some of the scarecrows not there when I came home this evening.
I know.
And Terry's in particular was very nice, so I missed the scarecrow already.
I know. We had a lot of compliments on it.
Well, I don't want it, but I just miss it on Main Street.
It's riding with you now.
But it was very nice.
Yes.
Well done.
We had a lot of fun with that. We had people calling at the last minute wanting to do one, so it was well received, and I'm sure next year it'll be bigger. I know Mimi Seago said, every time I look out my kitchen, I think, who's outside my window? And she remembered the scarecrow, so it was fun. And personally, and on behalf of Main Street, I want to thank the town council. We've grown together, and we're going to lose all of you guys sitting here, possibly not Bill, but you guys on the far left end, and I want to say thank you personally from my heart and from Main Street for working with us and allowing us to have the building and operate out of there and do what we can do to make it a community activity for everybody.
Well, thank you for everything that you do
Thank you.
and all of your volunteers.
Yeah, our committees are great. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Main Street's really done a nice job.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is department reports. Jim?
Yep. A couple things. Last week, the Ready 2.0, it's a grant that's out there. It was out there last year. It's out there this year. There's about $75 million in our region, so I went to a meeting last Friday, and actually Monday I got an application filled out and kind of met that deadline to kind of get us in the running, possibly to get some of that money. It's a pretty big region. It includes Carmel, Indianapolis. There's some big areas, so we'll see what happens. So, excited about that. We have a new hire, Mark Drescher, he'll be leaving this year, so Jacob Paul started today for the wastewater plant. So looking forward to having Jake on our team. That's it.
What else you got, Jim?
That's it.
Steve?
Just briefly go over the community crossings project that was in Cedar Creek. That's all wrapped up. It's been done probably 3 weeks ago. Robertson Paving had it again this year. Once again, they did a really good job on it. The bypass lane, as everybody I'm sure has noticed, is coming along pretty good down on 52 at 550 West. It's plenty long.
A lot bigger than I thought it would be.
Well, it's gonna, the good thing is it's gonna accommodate 550 West, and then that road Brook Lawn, that other one that turn it'll accommodate both of those left-hand turns, so that's really good. That's about a 1,600 foot bypass lane, so, they've just got some ditch work to do, and then they'll clean up, come back with the surface course, and then, striping, so looking at a week or two probably to wrap that up. A good addition. That's all I got.
Thanks, Steve. Yvonne?
I'd like to go back to the last meeting where we adopted the budget. We had been calling it Budget Form 4. When I went to put that in Gateway and have it approved, I had to have an ordinance number, so not necessarily prior by them, but highly suggested by Jared. So that has become ordinance number 101823A. So that's just for the record, probably won't make any difference to anybody. Secondly, if you see Jenny, she's not here tonight, but she has a new okay, I can't say it. But she has now got 4 letters behind her name, IAMC, stands for Indiana Accredited Municipal Clerk. I have to look it up, it's powerful. So that's her little training that she's done, then she's done the paperwork and sent it in. You know, something special now. I am looking at the new health insurance stuff. Quote that I got in today, probably actually last week while I was gone. But looks like if we stick with the plan that we have and have had, the rate goes up 8.59%, which is reasonable considering that in our budget we were expecting 10% increase. So we could stay with this. If you all would like, I can dig deeper and look further, or if you say, hey, this kind of sounds good, then I won't. Any ideas on that?
What date does that need to be approved by, Yvonne?
Soon, this month or next month.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
Next month.
Well, Yvonne, my opinion is you've already done the legwork, you made the recommendation, we had multiple different plans. I think that, if I recall correctly, we stayed with the plan that was the best for
Yeah.
the employees.
Yeah.
So just because it's 1.1% less than what it could be, I don't want to reopen it. Again, you did the work. My opinion is go with it because it was the best plan.
Just for fun, some gentleman stopped by last month sometime, was it Jim? He came here for a different reason, but he happens to be a consultant on employee benefit plans. And I told him, I said, we've got health insurance. He said, well, what do you have? And I showed him. He says, well, that's exactly what I would have recommended. So
There you
I
go.
thought that was kind of, I don't know, it just kind of was good. There's so much out there, and it's hard to know whether you're doing the right thing or not. So if you'll feel strongly about it, then I'm happy to stick with what we have. It creates consistency for everybody, and we still are below what we are budgeting for next year. All good?
Oh,
Stay the course.
Okay, then I will get that in motion with the insurance agent, and then I'll be back with you probably at the next meeting for you to formally approve that. Good? Last thing is, I had a meeting with, our bank, our treasury department for the bank that we use, and I complained to him that I thought our interest rate was ridiculously low. And it didn't take a whole lot of convincing, he raised it. And this was the first month that we got a statement back after that. Our interest rate went up from $137 a month on average to $8,810 for just the town account. That doesn't include the wastewater. Wastewater increased a tremendous amount as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about that thing. So
Sit down,
that
Todd.
wasn't really, you know, I like my little cue card. So I thought that was great news. Anyway, just thought I'd tell you a little bit of bragging there. But Doug just brought up something we talked about before I went on a week's vacation and kind of lost all my brain. P cards. We right now have a credit card. Jim has a limit of, I think yours is $1,500. Bob has a separate credit card that has credit, I think about the same. Mine is only $1,000. We have run into issues that now that we're all having to order something from Amazon or go to training, we don't have enough limit on these cards to pay for 2 hotel rooms for 3 nights or whatever it takes. So, we've talked about getting a P card. A P card is essentially a corporate credit card where you get one main account number. Each individual has his own, has or her own number and their own limit that is, you know, falls all under that total credit limit of the card as a whole. It would help for us to streamline things, especially if we can increase these individual limits to the point that we can actually use the cards more efficiently and actually properly when we go out of town. Currently, when we go out of town, we use personal cards to pay for the hotel room in order to then, you know, get it reimbursed by the town. It isn't a huge deal, however, it's kind of silly. But it is up to you guys to decide whether you feel comfortable with us having a lot higher credit limit and that being done through a P card, a purchase card, which is, you know, me running a business, I, you know, compare everything to that business side. It's a corporate credit card.
And Yvonne, what kind of a limit are you suggesting?
Well, our limit to make decisions, mine is $5,000. Why not make it the limit that we are allowed to decide on?
and there would be like 4 people on this, or how many people would be on?
3, right now we have 3 people on a car, on the half credit card. I don't think that we necessarily need more. When the wastewater guys need something ordered, they send me an email or a text and say, hey, can you order me this? But sometimes I'm shuffling. If I have 400 and something on the card and I need to order something for $600, I need to go and get Jim, or, you know, we needed a new dishwasher in the lab, I had to go get Bob's credit card in order to pay for it. It's just, these decisions were made when we, A, didn't order things online, and B, you know, money wasn't as, you know, when the values of money
Yeah,
were
money's not
different
worth
than they
much
are
anymore.
now.
So,
Anyway.
Are you like thinking $10,000 or $15,000?
Well, I think the card total limit should probably be $15,000.
Yeah,
Could even be more, but the individual limit can only be whatever you guys decide, but I would think $5,000 would be a good limit.
So Jim has purchasing authority up to $5,000, so he can buy something up to $5,000. He just doesn't have a credit card to
He
be able
doesn't
to do
have the
that.
money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even if you raised his limit to $5,000, that would mean that he can only purchase one thing within his purchasing limit per month, which may be enough, but you may want to add cushion there. I would suggest, and what Yvonne and I were looking at is just your feedback so we can draft the ordinance, at least taking it up to their purchasing authority, because you've already granted them the ability to do that. You just haven't given them you grant the authority to do it, you just haven't given them the ability without using their own money to do it.
Right, right.
So I would go at least to their purchasing authority. Jim's is 5,000, department heads are 2,000. Yvonne, as an elected official, technically can spend as much as is in her budget line item. I know she looks for the council to grant authority as well, though. So I would say whatever you think is appropriate, but at least to their purchasing authority would make sense.
I don't want to open up a larger risk than we have to. Right? As we bounced ideas around about this, we went all over the place. You don't want to risk more than you have to. So I would say $5,000, $6,000. It has to, I mean, it takes 2 months, right? I mean, you got a whole month to spend. Then you get 30 days to pay, or 25 days to pay. So essentially, whatever the limit is that you use in certain credit cards, you have essentially in 2 months' time you have that limit, not per month. Some of the corporate cards I use, they reset at a particular date in the month, so that's 1 month. I don't know where we will go for this particular card, but just keep that in mind.
Yvonne, my thoughts are, this is kind of like a food truck ordinance. It can be fluid. And yes, things are a lot different today than when a $1,500 limit was put in place. And with the people that we currently have in those positions, I personally have a comfort level that wasn't there at different times previously. And so if we raise the amounts, and if there were ever a reason to decrease the amounts, it could always be changed. I just think that you should have the ability to at least use the authority, and you don't have that currently. And I'm just gonna throw out, just thinking out loud, what about $7,500 a person? And it eliminates the need to go running down the hallway when you need something. But I don't know what's anyone else think about that?
well, that's what I was wondering. Would it be better to have individual cards or I mean, I don't know.
You can set individual limits. So
Yeah.
Oh,
Yvonne's
okay, on
in-
this
It
card?
allows you to compartmentalize
Yeah, okay.
some of it. And
Okay, well,
also-
that kind of takes that out of the
Well, and you
equation.
only have 3 users.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and but also say you would give a wastewater operator a card or whatever. You can set limits that are correct for that person at that time, and it can be changed at any time. I'll have to look into how that works, who the final decision maker is on that. I know in my business, that's always me. I have several cards that have maybe 15 employees on that card. They all have their individual number, and I set their individual limits. But I make the final decisions. In this situation, I don't know in a municipality who then the final decision maker is, whether that should be a council member, which in this case is getting ready to change. Maybe this is something that I don't even set up until we have the new council in place, so that we don't have to change everything up again a month from now. But I'll have to look into that.
Well, again, my thinking, we're talking about cards that can be used by Yvonne, Bob, and Jim. I'll make a motion that we change the individual limits from 1,500 up to 7,500.
The individual limit, what does that mean?
Well, right now, Jim's is 1,500, Bob's is 1,500, and Yvonne's is 1,000. I'm saying that each one of those individuals should have the ability to use the credit card for $7,500.
And
I can explain that more.
Somebody's gonna have to
There'd
second.
be a corporate limit,
Right.
basically, and for
Right.
all of the, that all the cards together have one limit. And then every person individual has a limit, which also means that if you get a new hire at some point, you can say, all right, here's your card, but initially your limit is only this much. Or you can say, if you know there's a large purchase coming up, you can increase that person's individual limit a little bit
Period.
higher
Right.
for that particular purchase, and then you can lower it back down. Each one of those decisions is a few clicks online or a phone call to the credit card company.
Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that we issue cards to people who don't currently have them. I'm just,
Understand?
the
But you
the
could.
immediate concern
You
is
need to.
Well,
the limits.
if Jim's limit's 7,500, but he has a limit like of a purchase of 5,000, well, in the time it takes for that card to clear and get paid, he could have another $5,000 purchase, and then he couldn't make it.
But I think that doesn't happen all that often.
Okay.
And I think by not having rates, limits higher than there have to be, I think you curtail your risk.
And Clint, that's exactly why I went $2,500
Yeah,
over
I
the authority,
understand.
because that
I understand the
25-day
reasoning behind it,
rolling
yeah.
period.
Yeah.
That's,
Well, can we clarify what the purchasing, so you said Jim's is 5,000, Yvonne's understanding is hers is 5,000, but you said it's unlimited technically.
Well, to the
as elected
budget.
official.
As an elected official, she can spend her budget.
Right,
Yeah.
and then what is Bob's?
Bob is 2,000 as an agency head or department head,
Okay.
according to the town ordinance 29.501.
What
E.
year was that? 01? 2001?
That was before the 50% increase in inflation.
That's,
what have
and
Twinkies
that's
done
part of
to
the
it?
problem.
Oh, my
But
God.
if we
Right,
discuss it
that's
now a
part of
little
the
bit,
problem.
then Doug can start on writing an ordinance that's of this time,
Mhm.
dealing with the situation that we're in. And then you can approve it or you can change it or whatever and discuss it some more.
What would be the checks and balance over that?
Of what?
Who's gonna be looking through the credit card and the purchases that are made on the credit card,
Me,
just to make sure?
Susie, Jenny, whomever, we're all,
well,
mean, I
and
go
every
for each one
expenditure
of them.
comes through as a claim, so
It comes in as a
we look
claim.
at those monthly.
Yeah, Susie puts them in the computer. I go through each one, find all the receipts to match it, and then you're all approving it. If you'd like to, we can create a process where there's yet one more set of eyes looking at it. I'm totally cool with that.
I'm cynical, were burned earlier, so.
Yeah, I've been
Another set of
burned
eyes.
before too. I mean, I've had somebody in my business bail himself out of jail with my credit card. You can imagine I was not too happy about that. So, but there's, the good thing with a credit card is that you're not liable for unauthorized charges. Okay, you should always know that you are not liable for unauthorized charges. If there's something on that card and you say, hey, that wasn't authorized, it's one phone call to the credit card company and that fixes that. So, that's your personal as well as your corporate as well as any other kind of credit card. You don't have the protection with a debit card. That's why I don't ever want to use a debit card. I don't want to see debit cards in the town. It's a credit card or nothing. So, yeah, sorry. Got my high horse then.
So what do you think the individual or the umbrella limit would be?
Well, I don't know what they'll give us. I mean, considering your town in good financial standing, they may approve you for a
Yeah, I know,
credit
but-
card of $100,000
Yeah,
limit.
I know.
I
No,
wouldn't expect
what are
that
you
that's a
asking?
great
What are you
idea.
talking
What
about?
do you want?
What do I want?
What do you recommend?
The total, if you're doing $7,500 for each individual, you have 3 people on the card,
Like a $20,000 limit?
25,000.
I'd say 25,000.
You'd have to
It's an
do a
emergency.
minimum of 3 times, you know,
Mhm.
what you're giving each person if there's 3 cards. It would be nice if you have a card with a limit, with a corporate limit, that's high
Right.
enough that should you want to give another person a card,
Right.
that you can, you know. But over time too, you can request a credit increase. None of this is something that's set in stone and unchangeable.
Well,
Just don't wanna put out more risk than we have to, but I like for it to be practical so it can be used
Right.
for the proper purposes. And, you know, if you'd like to put that other set of eyes in there, we can do that, so long as it doesn't slow down our process of paying the bill. Because what we'd like to do is pay it as soon as it comes in.
What I don't want is any employee to have to use their personal funds or credit card or
That's
whatever.
silly, unnecessary.
Even though you get reimbursed, you shouldn't have to advance those funds if we can avoid it. So that's what I was trying to accomplish.
Appreciate that.
So, what's anyone else think?
I'm okay with it as long as there's somebody checking it.
do
Me
what?
too.
But rest assured that I always check it. But I also,
Right.
if I have a card, I shouldn't be checking mine. But that's, Susie gets all the information once I put all the receipts together, and we've got the appropriation numbers and all that on there. It gets handed off to another person.
Okay.
No bills ever get paid by one single person.
Angie, do you have any recommendations for who that should be or how it should be handled?
No, because by the time it comes back around for that, I won't be sitting up here, so I think the new council will be in charge of that.
I would have certainly recommended you first.
Yeah.
Well, I would recommend that we have Yvonne look into getting the umbrella type credit card with like a limit of $25,000.
I'll second that.
Clint, call that motion for a vote.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion?
It's a good start.
Okay. All those in favor of having Yvonne look into a $25,000 umbrella for the corporate credit card, vote by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Look into it, Yvonne.
Thank you. And then Doug, you and I will work together on creating the ordinance to go along with that.
Yep, we just want to get some feedback on,
Sure.
on range of money so we didn't
Yeah,
come in with something crazy.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
And that's all I have, unless I get another cue card.
I'm done.
All right.
Next item on the agenda is public comments. We allow anybody 5 minutes to talk on any subject they want to. Has anybody got any comments? About anything?
I like it when they're quiet.
Okay, if there's no public comments, next item on the agenda is the council comments. And I don't have any comments tonight. Brandy?
In an effort to try and plan our Thanksmas dinner for the third meeting, in discussing this celebration, the town employees got back with me that their preferred date was December 12th. And when I surveyed council members, one didn't respond, one said, don't plan around them. One is only available Wednesdays and Thursdays, and 2 of us were okay. So, can we try a Wednesday or Thursday if that would work? Instead, like the 13th or 14th?
Sounds good for me. I know since I was out of town last week, I was trying to figure out with everybody here what works the best.
Yeah,
I don't know specifics on why
okay.
it was chosen.
On Tuesday, the 12th was chosen, okay. Okay.
You know, it was one of the dates that you had originally given her.
Right, right,
So,
okay,
I know she stayed within those parameters.
okay.
But, you know, here's the thing, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There's
Mhm.
no, it's not the end of the world.
Sure.
Okay?
Can we try for Wednesday, the 13th instead? As of right now, say the 13th, and
Okay.
you all get, is that gonna work for everybody here?
Works for me.
As far as
I
you
will
know?
be there anytime.
That's what I'm saying.
Is that okay with
I'm
you?
available.
Okay. And I know Chris just said he didn't know his schedule between now and then, so, if we don't mind, if the 13th works, unless, you know, if y'all wanna check and if there's like a mass exodus on the 13th for some reason, you know, let us know. Okay. And then, I know you guys were very happy with our catering last year, the buffet that we had, and that was mentioned as a hint in the email, that that would be wonderful, so if you're all are cool with that, pursuing that route again,
Absolutely.
cool? Okay, all right,
Great.
11:30, 13th. Thank you
That's it?
for the Thanksmas. Oh, one more question. Jim, the Blue Star banner thing got brought up to me again. It seems like a lot of the families of recent graduates from New Pal, you know, the last couple years, they don't know much about it or know how to get Blue Star banners for their, you know, their graduates, their loved ones. And is there any like recommended format like that we send them to, or a form letter, anything that, what do you think?
Main Street actually handles that with Dan Wood, so.
Yep.
I know that you guys mentioned on your website, and we need to update ours since we did a new website to add that to there, but that is a Main Street
Mm-hmm.
thing. So Dan kind of, he knows who's eligible, how they're eligible, so we kind of let him handle that. And
Mhm.
meeting of them, so.
But how
We
do,
just refer them to
right.
Main Street.
I just don't know how families, you know, like, it would be nice if there was information like readily available where they can,
We could print something and have them.
yeah, or a link to the website, because last I was told is there was some sort of, as long as they've completed basic training, is what I was told, and there's some application that they can fill out and submit to us, and that's what needed to be done, but I can't find that anywhere. You know, so, you know, we've had quite a few, you know, graduates in the last couple of years enter the armed forces, and their families don't have, you know, banners or access for them, and I think that's important.
I'll make sure that there's some in here. I'll get
Okay.
a copy of the app.
Okay.
And like I said, we'll update it, and if you guys want to add it to your website.
Yeah.
I know it's
It might
mentioned
be.
on there.
Jenny
I
might
thought
have
it
added
was on
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
can-
on our website.
It is?
Mhm.
The updated,
Yeah.
for them to fill out the application?
And in part of that is, even if they're active, they have to be active out of the state of Indiana to receive the blue. Yeah.
Okay. It is on the town, the
Blue Star
updated.
Community.
Hmm. It's under what?
It says Blue Star Community. I don't know what,
But there's no link to fill out an application.
well,
It just says resources, New Palestine is a Blue Star community.
yeah.
There's no link, no application, no,
We'll make sure the link's on there.
okay.
I didn't have that.
And Julie, will you send it to me as well, just personally, because there's a couple families that have reached out to me, I want to send it to as well. Okay, on town website update. Okay. And those get put up when?
Well, they come down in the fall, right?
Yeah.
Because you do, and then they
Yeah.
come back in the
Yeah,
spring.
through the holidays, and they go back up,
Okay.
you know, through the summer, depending on how many we have.
Yeah, when
Do
I,
you, do you rotate those? Or,
There, you know what, there was one year that we have 44 polls, and I think we had almost 44 candidates up.
well, that's what I was wondering,
That's
if
been
there was
5,
a,
6 years ago, but then it kind of drew down, so,
Mhm.
yeah.
It reminded me today too, because I went to a work meeting in Brookville, and I drove through Morristown, and I saw their banners were still up, and so that's what reminded me of,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
that it, Brandy?
I think so.
Bill?
The only thing I'd like to add is to welcome everybody to travel north this Friday night to watch our high school football team. We will be playing at the school in the cornfield in the sectional championship, and I don't care how cold it is, it'll be a great time. That's it, Glenn.
Okay. Angie,
I don't have anything, just a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
all in favor of adjourning, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Adjourn.